I know it was not that easy, Sophie, I know. In fact, I would highly recommend just like putting a little piece of paper towel or something on there. That's what I'm gonna try anyway. I don't know, we'll see. Maybe it works the other way, but that looks like a slippery tab. That looks so strange. Sophie, we love you, but you're cutting that shallot backwards. Hey, it's home cooking. It's all good. I'm trying to get rid of my 20 years of restaurant, all that professional cooking stuff so I can just be a better home cook. Because you know what? Let's face facts here. All that high-end, high-level stuff people love to share on social media doesn't really help anyone. It's fun to watch. Nobody's cooking it. People are cooking stuff like this. Grated potato. Okay, so we're just grating everything, squeezing all that liquid out of the potato, adding it into the chicken with the shallots, and an egg. One-handed egg crack. Nice. Salt, pepper, oregano, okie-dokie, and mozzarella cheese. This is really interesting. All that cheese mixed in with everything else. My curiosity is building. The old butter and olive oil mix, which I'm a fan of. I just like that combo. Are we gonna put all of it in? Oh, it's all going in. I was thinking we're gonna make like little, like burger-sized pieces, but this is like a whole thing. Wow. Yeah, it's like a frittata, like a chicken frittata. I feel like it might be better cooked in small. You can cook it however you want, but smaller pieces might get more crust, therefore more color, therefore more flavor. However, we'll see. Parsley. Whoa. Okay, so then we flip it back in the pan. We're just cooking it in the pan with a lid on. Gosh. Some more parsley on top for a little color. I don't know. I don't know. The last recipe we cooked from Sophie has been our highest rated recipe yet. We'll put a link to that one at the end of the video. Judging by how it looks, I can't say I'm the most excited about this one, but is it worth 8 million views? We'll see about that. And as always, at the end of the video, we're gonna give it a rating, and if it's really good, we'll go outside and absolutely smash my fridge. All right, I got my frozen chicken breast here. Let's see how this works out. Now, yeah, I can just feel already, it's very slippery. I don't know how Sophie did that without like a piece of towel or something. That's what I'm gonna use. Here we go. Pretty strange. Oh my God. I will say this. Don't expect to have an easy time about this, okay? It's not that fun. It's really not that fun. And your hand gets really cold. Sophie is jacked. She had all that peaceful music going. And the grating of the chicken.
Oh my God.
Really,
Oh my God.
like,
Oh my God.
You good?
Yeah, she fell on me.
It's like a brain freeze inside of your thumb. There we go. That realistically took, I don't know, 5 minutes. It wasn't peaceful at all. There was nothing peaceful about it. Or fun. It wasn't fun. In fact, I hated it. I hated it. I'm totally gonna prank Marcus. Marcus, come on down, bro. I got a sexy shaved cantaloupe snow with a little bit of yuzu oil and a tiny bit of pear puree on the bottom with a hint of amaranth.
I'm not eating that.
He's been filming the video the whole time, so he knew. Go ahead and drop that into a bowl. I'm not gonna knock it until we actually try the recipe. But like, if I had a chicken breast, I would just never be like, let's freeze it and grate it up. Next step here, we're gonna dice up this shallot. I love shallots. Like a fancy onion. It's the best. There's nothing to it, right? Just like an onion. Although, I would definitely leave the root end intact. So you can go like this. And from here, just go ahead and slice it up. Easy as that. Throw those in with the chicken. Next, we're gonna grate up our potatoes. I chose Yukon Golds. I'm sure you could get away with russet as well. I'll have to admit, grating the potato, it's about 10 times funner than the frozen chicken breast. I don't know why I hate that so much, but I have a feeling you will too. And now she squeezes it out. Look at all that. Ooh. My first instinct would to be actually to rinse this in cold water a few times, but we're following the recipe, all right? Otherwise, can't really give it the most accurate review. I like squeezing things with my hands. I just like it. I like when my hands are all messy and gross. Potatoes go in with chicken and shallots. By the way, if you don't have one of these little bench scrapers, you gotta get one. It's usually for dough. A lot of chefs use this to just pick up things off their cutting board. Can't live without it. A link in description. One egg going in. I can do the one-handed egg crack too, okay? It's not that hard. Salt and Sergeant Gilbert pepper. It's not that weird. Oh, Sergeant Gilbert, so stupid. You're so stupid. Kids love it, okay? There's a little 5-year-old watching right now with his mom, and he has his own little Sergeant Gilbert or Pepe Pepper or whatever, and they're just watching the show, having a good time. So next, a little bit of oregano. What?
Not how you say it.
You say oregano? And lastly, we're gonna grate up this mozzarella cheese. And I'm kind of curious to see how the cheese is gonna gel with everything in here. It's just gonna become part of it, isn't it? We shall see. And cheese goes in. Oh, Sonny, what are you making? Oh, you know, it doesn't have a name. I'm just making a giant chicken mozzarella burger. Yeah, kind of like an omelet, except with grated frozen chicken inside. What do you mean you don't know what it is? Yeah, you know, a German chicken cheese potato omelet. You know what a grilled cheese is, but you don't know what this is? Weird. Before we cook up this chicken frisbee disc puck thing, let me tell you about today's sponsor, Good Chop. Good Chop offers convenient, contact-free delivery, which I happen to really love. So by choosing Good Chop, you support some herbs and garlic butter, and let me tell you, they were delicious and super. And use promo code ThatDude120 or click the link down in the description to get $120 off your first 4 boxes today. That's goodchop.com/YouTube with promo code ThatDude120. Thank you, Good Chop, for sponsoring this video, and now let's go finish up this chicken recipe. Got my pan on medium heat. It's been preheating for about 2 minutes. Olive oil going in, butter going in with the olive oil. Wait for this to melt. And in we go. Just smoothing it out, folks. Just smoothing it out. I've got a decent shape here. Now she says to put the lid on. Cook it for 15 to 17 minutes, which that seems like a long time. I'm gonna turn down the heat a little bit to medium-low and let it roll. All right, there we go. It's been 15 minutes, and I'll say this, it smells a whole lot better than it looks. Although, 15 minutes per side seems like a lot of cooking time to me. I'm gonna tempt this right now. I'm curious. Whoa! I can safely say 15 minutes per side is just way too much. It's already blasting over 200, which, as you know, chicken breast is 165 is safe. That's kind of crazy. All right, anyway, here we go. Plate on, and we flip ski to set it down. And then what I like to do is just this little kind of calm towel thing. There we go. Wow, guys. Looks pretty good. You know what? I mean, it's definitely done, but I need to at least sear that other side. So with this series, a lot of the channels we recreate recipes from are really vague when they explain things, I've noticed. So when you're cooking them, if you just feel like something is done or your little Spider-Man cooking senses are going off, just listen to that little inner voice because it usually knows what it's doing. For instance, we don't need to cook this for another 15 minutes. It's done. I'm just adding a little more oil and in with the chicken, and I'll literally just sear this side for 2 minutes or so, and it's good. I actually just have to invert it out. Oh, again. Don't try this at home, kids. Oh! And as she does, we're just gonna finish with a little parsley. My cameraman Marcus was saying what kind of sauce would be good with this. I don't know, something like raita would probably be good. Or a nice, juicy, like cucumber tomato salad I think would be good. Marcus, why don't you come on down, dude? That's what it looks like in the middle. It does look maybe a tad bit dry, but let's give it a taste and find out. Cheers. Boom. Saying better than I thought it was going to be. It's so hot. But it's so hot. Marcus doesn't have the chef resilience heat that I have. Understandable. What do you think? Better than you thought it was going to be?
I don't know. It's about what I thought it was going to be.
There's no sort of melty, gooey cheese in there, even though it has a lot of cheese. The cheese has sort of just become like this, almost like glue along with the potato that holds everything together.
It's like a giant chicken patty.
I like the way that the cheese kind of burns on the outside. You do get a nice little texture.
How could she cook this for more than 15 minutes? Is her oven a light bulb?
Don't cook this for 30 minutes. In fact, if I were to do it again, I would go medium-high heat, maybe like 6 minutes per side, and see if that does it. Also, hers did look a little thicker, but it's gonna be done before that time. I still really think it needs a sauce or something juicy and wet to go with it, but overall, on its own, it's not terrible, it's not amazing. 6.9 out of 10. I think that's a fair score. For some final thoughts, I would make this again. However, I would consider pre-cooking the onions. I would also consider rinsing out those potatoes a few times in cold water to get more of the starch off. And I think making them even flatter and cooking them in individual portions so you get a little bit more texture and crispy little bits on either side, more like a latke, could be really good. Having said all that, what it does have going for it is it's pretty easy besides grating the frozen chicken. That kind of sucks. And in fact, you might be able just to buy ground chicken instead of doing all that. Anyway, that's how I feel about it right now. Not great, definitely not terrible. Thanks for watching today. I will put a link to the original creator down in the description, as well as the recipe from this video. I also have links to a lot of my favorite products and kitchen equipment that I use on this channel down there. And there's also awesome merch available for purchase if you want to support the channel. If you're eager to keep learning today, to my left and to my right are two of my own easier recipes. They're super delicious, and I just know you can pull them off. And until next time, you know I love you, and I'm out.
Yes.
If you've landed on this YouTube video, well then it truly is your lucky day because this truly is the best chicken I've ever freaking made, and I mean that. It's piri piri chicken time, my friends. Now let's go!
What's up, dude? There's nothing inherently wrong with using a ramen pack. Welcome back to We'll See About That, where we test the most viral YouTube recipes to really see if they're worth the hype. And today we're entering the realm of potatoes to make a sort of potato donut, a podonut, a ponut. I don't know what it is, but it's gonna be interesting. And as always, there is no time to wait. Now let's go! Today's recipe is coming from the channel Einfach Lecker. Hope I'm saying that right. You know, I lived in Holland for a while. It sounds Dutch, but it might be German. It's Dutch or German, I can tell you that much. Welcome to my kitchen. My name is Helga. What up, Helga? The recipe we're cooking today is only my mother-in-law cooks potatoes this way, and I saw this thumbnail and I just thought, what is going on there? Click, because are these potatoes being boiled, fried? I don't know. I actually haven't watched this video yet because I want to do a blind reaction, but I want to see what's going on. Let's check this out. This is a woman that's cut up a lot of potatoes. You can tell with that technique. Go Helga. Not gonna lie, that's kind of a bunk masher. It sucks. Maybe the masher works really well. Now I feel bad, and maybe it's an incredible masher. We have essentially mashed potato with egg at this point. That's just the water she cooked the potatoes in. Yeast has entered the party. Now we're talking.
Yeah,
This is gonna be interesting. A little bit of sugar. So we seem to be on our way to making some sort of potato dough. And there's the flour. We've got dough, ladies and gentlemen. We've got dough. What I'm loving about this recipe so far is it's super simple, right? Simple ingredients, pretty fast. She lets the dough rise. This is like a potato donut? Potato dough donut? Potato nut. A ponut. A podonut. Hell yeah. Yum, right? Let's see the inside. Helga, do it. Break me open. I mean, ooh, looks fluffy. Okay. Before we make the recipe, I want to look into the comments real quick. There's always gold in the comments. Some people put powdered sugar on top, cinnamon, butter, and honey on them, a little bit of salt. Some people have been doing green onions on there. So maybe we'll do savory, maybe we'll do sweet, maybe we'll do both. Honestly, I'm really excited about this recipe, but is it worth 21 million views? Is it that good? We'll see about that. And at the end of the video, we're gonna review and rate this recipe. And if it's really good, obviously the fridge is gonna get attacked. It needs to.
Judging by the look of her potatoes, I'm quite sure she was actually just using russets. And all you need to do here is peel them up and then cut them into similar sized chunks. Just make sure they're all the same size and thickness when you do this so they'll cook evenly. Drop them into some cold water and onto the stove it goes to boil.
After about 22 minutes, my potatoes are fork tender, meaning when I pop them out and I just insert a little piece of metal into them, it goes in really tender, like butter. Gonna add them to a bowl, drain off a little bit of that water. Watching her video, it looks like her potatoes have actually been cooled down in the water because I see absolutely no steam in the pot. And it's not clarified in the video, but I would let these cool down closer to room temp before you mix the dough. Just guessing, but there was no steam. No steam, no heat, no light. At this point, my potatoes have been cooling for about 10, 12 minutes. They're just a little bit warm. I'm just mashing them up now. I like that this recipe is staying real simple. No equipment needed, just a stupid little masher. Next, we're just adding a little bit of kosher salt and one whole egg. Mix again until you have a really nice fine sludge. Next up, 1 cup of potato broth, which is just the liquid that the potatoes cooked in. Simple as that. And this is also just slightly warm. Again, mix and mash. At this point, we're also going to add the active dry yeast and sugar, so that yeast has something to munch on. We'll switch to a rubber spatula and keep mixing. Now we're going to start adding our flour. And in her recipe, there's a pretty big discrepancy. I think that's the word I'm looking for. She says add between 400 and 500 grams of flour. That's a pretty big difference. I'm starting right now with 400 grams. I'll put the measurement in cups up on the screen right now. And we'll start by mixing that amount in. And if it needs more, I can always add more. For now, this amount looks pretty good. We're gonna go ahead and tip this out on our board so we can begin kneading with our hands, which is way more fun anyways. And if it starts getting too sticky, like it is, now I'm gonna start adding more flour little by little and kneading it in. And then if it gets really sticky again, I'm gonna add a little more. Then don't worry, I have that amount weighed out. So if you do wanna recreate this, we can give you the exact amount of flour. There we go. I'm going to leave it at that for this recipe, which is 450 grams of flour. Again, cups are right up here on the screen, although I do recommend if you're into baking to get a scale that weighs out in grams to be more accurate. The dough is sticky to the touch, but it does not stick to my finger, which I think is about what we want for this. Here we go, back to a fresh bowl. Just a little tiny bit of oil on this thing, and I saw her do a slight knead, but this is really more so that dough does not stick to the bowl as it rises. I'm just creating a little tension by pulling the top down around the bottom like so. Nothing too fancy. There we go. Next, I'm just going to throw a warm, damp towel over the top, and we're going to leave this in the kitchen, preferably somewhere slightly a little bit warm, to rise for about 30-40 minutes. 40 minutes was the right time for my dough in temperature. Oh, it feels good. It feels good. Out she goes. Come on, release. Oh, stuck a little bit. Oh well, no problem, folks. Now, I'm going to take this pastry cutter here, slice in half. And then from here, we're going to cut them each into 6 pieces, like so. From here, she sprays with a little more oil. And all I'm going to do now is shape into a ball, flop it onto a cutting board here, and just repeat with the rest. Again, does not need to be perfect. And again, cover with a damp towel and let them rise for 5 to 7 minutes. Although I let mine rise for about 20 minutes, 5 to 7 minutes actually didn't do that much, so I just let them go a little bit longer. But that will absolutely depend on how hot your kitchen is. Wow, that was incredible throw. Helga didn't specify an exact temperature on the oil, but I'm thinking 350 degrees Fahrenheit. Celsius is right here. Should put us at the right temperature for a dough like this. And as always, as I do on this channel, I do not like using vegetable oil or any seed oils really, so I'm using peanut oil. Once your oil's up to temp, just go ahead and drop them in. And after about 3 minutes, they're nice and golden brown. We can go ahead and flip them over, which they just want to do on their own. There we go. And continue to cook. Another 3 minutes on the other side. You can go ahead and remove these. Well, here it is. It's pretty nice looking. Feels good. Piping hot. Whew. We're going to go ahead and try this one on its own. Ooh. That's spongy. Ow. However, we are going to try some ideas from the comments here in a minute to see what's best. It's nice. There's a nice bouncy, light kind of texture to this that I like a lot, but the flavor isn't there. This needs something. It needs something. Eating them like this, I'm done after a bite. We're going to try 2 different versions. The first, I'm just going to crush it in a whole bunch of unsalted butter because we know that's not going to be bad. Ooh. And then we're going to drizzle it with honey, because that's not going to be bad. Ooh. And finally, for that little sweet and salty kick, we're going to hit it with some nice flaky sea salt, Malden salt. Well, this one certainly looks much better. Marcus, why don't you come on down? Bing!
Oh, that's mad good.
That's much better.
In the video, the lady just ripped them apart. You gotta do something like this.
For the next version, we're just going to dust with powdered sugar heavily. And next, a little bit of cinnamon. Same deal, I'm just dusting it on top. And there's that version. Let's give this thing a try.
I like honey butter better.
I also like honey butter better. Not that this is bad. The honey butter and salt is just amazing. On another note, I also baked some of these at 400 degrees Fahrenheit for about 18-20 minutes. And here are the results. They definitely don't look as good, but they feel nice and fluffy, so that is an option for you as well. For my final verdict, the donuts with nothing on them are going to get an even 6. They're okay, but nothing to write home about. However, the ones with honey, butter, and sea salt are going to get a 7.5. Those are solid. Definitely, I would make those again. The recipe will be down in the description underneath this video, as well as links to products I love to use on my show, and merch if you want to support the channel. And until next time, you know I love you and I'm out! Have you ever seen any of those have you ever seen those super viral cooking videos on YouTube that have millions and millions of views? They always have these clickbait titles along the lines of I cook this 3 times every single week. Personally, I'm always wondering if these are really worth the hype. Today, we're going to put a popular one to the test in my new series. We'll see about that. And as always, there is no time to waste. Now let's go! Always start with nice coffee. Sorry about that sound. Today's recipe is coming from Table Diary. Seems to be some sort of alien writing? I'm sorry, I don't know what it is. I'm a dumb American. And we are going to be cooking their most popular recipe with 77 million views. Whoa. It's cheese potato bread baked in frying pan. No oven, no yeast. The rest of the title I can't read until I click on it. But it's funny that it says baked and then it says in a frying pan. That doesn't make any sense. Here we go. Whoa, not gonna lie, with an opening scene like that crunch, that got my interest. That piqued my interest. That's it. Flour, milk, butter, and salt. Make a little lump out of it. I like how they call it a lump. Knead it a little bit in the bowl. See where this goes. Rest your dough in the fridge for 1 hour, and then they're taking some potato here. I think it was a russet. Could have been a Yukon. Looks like a russet. Mashing it up here. No special tools required. And then they're adding mayonnaise to the potato.
I like that. I like that a lot. At this point, then she pulls the dough out of the fridge and kind of rolls it out into a pizza dough type shape. Seems easy enough. Oh, bald? I am bald. Bald. Mozzarella cheese. Okay. Wait, where's the potato? All right, there's the potato. Okay, it's just not where I thought this was going to be going. So you roll the bread out like a pizza. You put cheese. You put the potato and the mayonnaise stuff. You put more cheese. Interesting technique. She's almost rolling this up like a giant soup dumpling. And I'm assuming she's gonna use the rolling pin again. We'll see. Videos are so relaxing. I feel tired. I need to be coffee. It's super simple. She does roll it out and then she cooks it in a frying pan with some melted butter. Simple as that. Gets it all toasty and golden brown on either side. That's getting me, man. It does look super satisfying. That crunch, that gooey cheese, honey. You're supposed to dip this in honey. Okay, I'm down. I'm down. Honestly, this looks really good, my friends, but is it worth 77 million views? We'll see about that. And as always, at the end, we'll give it a rating 1 through 10, and if it really hits the mark, we are gonna absolutely obliterate my fridge. If you're new around here, don't ask any questions. Just keep watching. It's pretty awesome. I really don't think there's ever been an easier bread recipe than this one, or whatever it is. Starting with bread flour, a little bit of milk, just a little bit of milk, just a little tiny little bit of milk, unsalted melted butter, and a pinch of salt. Oh my God, that is it. Give this a little mix. Did she make this same amount? This just seems like so little. I can tell you right now, if you want to feed 4 people, you should definitely double this recipe. Seems like the kind of thing you would want to make a bigger batch of. At this point, she recommends kneading it by hand. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to get it out. It's so funny to be kneading this amount of dough. Look at it. I could put this in my pocket. I could freaking walk around for the whole day. Little dough friend. Look at that. I like putting food in my pockets, okay? It's funny. After 5 minutes of kneading, I have this cute little tiny dough ball. Throw it back into the bowl, and we'll just cover it with a little plastic wrap and leave it in the fridge to rest for 1 hour. For this next part, you're gonna need 1 medium potato, although I only have 2 small ones, so that's what I'm gonna use. And all I'm gonna do here is peel them up, and I definitely recommend saving the peels. I will put a link to that video down in the description. I'll show you what I do with these. And it seems like she boiled the potatoes whole, but I see no reason why I can't cut these up a little bit to cut down on the cooking time. I'm also putting a little pinch of salt in that water, and I'll just boil these until fork tender. My potatoes just took 20 minutes to become fork tender. I let them cool down out of the water, obviously, and now we're adding 2 tablespoons of mayonnaise. Oop, maybe I was supposed to smash up the potatoes first. I don't think it matters. It's gonna be fine in the end. Taking a little stupid little hand masher here and smashing. Mayonnaise and potatoes. Basically like mashed potato salad, which I actually kind of like. And so here we go. Mix, mix, mix. It can be wise to put a little towel under these things so it doesn't make that terrible noise. A little more stable. And that's it. I'm a little surprised that she doesn't put any seasoning in here. Let's give it a taste. Wow, that tastes like mayonnaise and potatoes. I would honestly put a little seasoning in here, but gotta stick to the recipe because that's the series. If I go changing it too much, I can't give it an accurate rating. The dough has been resting for an hour at this point. Time to roll it out. Do a few rolls, quarter turn, roll some more. In the world of cooking, this is actually something I have historically not been that good at. I don't know why. For me, rolling out dough by hand is just one thing I'm just not the best at. All right, well, here we go. I didn't do too bad with that. I think that's about the right size. So that is about 10 and a half.
hair and blood traces from Ben Vanderwell's left cousin. I'm not nothing.
No, she's still missing, presumed dead. The caliber and placement of the bullets match that of two previous victims. The first, Rita Haslett. 8 months ago, she went missing from her home in New Jersey. 4 weeks later, she was found alive. She went from that to this in under 3 weeks. She's totally emaciated.
Weird your marks on her wrist and ankles indicate she was constrained.
Well, the iron one in the head said Vanderwell. Sounds more like an execution.
Then why cut off Vanderwell's hands post-mortem?
What about the third victim?
The Levington, his appearance was certainly altered. His genitals were missing.
Well, the method of mutilation is different in each crime. Clearly, there's a signature. Question is what? Wheels up in 20. What's this? You told me you were clear to travel. You lied.
No, you could.
No, I didn't. I am a doctor, so technically it wasn't a lie.
What was it?
Second opinion.
In my picture.
Justice without force is powerless. Force without justice is tyrannical. Blaise Pascal.
In the Ben Vanderwell case, his hands were taken. Bill Levington, his genital. Only in the Rita Haslett case, she was starved and tortured and then executed. There's no sign of postmortem.
Why would he take Ida Vanderwell and not simply kill her?
Maybe he hasn't, she's still alive.
It would be concrete as the MO, which depicts an efficient, no-nonsense murder. But they need to figure out which act of mutilation is the innocent or the victim.
That's pretty much how we found it. There's no signs
of Hi.
entry.
What are you doing?
Chilling on RuneScape. What about you? Oh, you're not talking to me. Got it.
What are you doing? Get out of there.
Keys, but not his house.
Turned on the lights.
They didn't work because the phone and electricity were cut.
Something in this room
Yeah, what I
attracted her attention.
used, what was that thing called?
What is it?
Officer Blood, the camera track had.
Serial killers, especially sexual sadists, often document their kill.
But sexual sadists usually torture their victims while they're still alive. You still didn't find any conflicting DNA?
No, it's not fiber, it's not
No, but there weren't any shots.
no, excuse me. Yeah. All right. Ida Vanderwall was just found wandering on the streets half hour ago. She's at
What are you doing, little lady? You're being crazy.
A killer this sophisticated doesn't leave a living witness without a reason.
I gotta go check what's on my laptop. I forget what it is.
Are there many investigations for her? Some questions for you. So you came home. You tried to turn the lights on. You didn't work. What did you do? I saw a light. Flash. I opened the door. Man was there. Tied to a chair. I think he was dead.
How you doing, Flash? Pardon me for a moment.
Did you see your tiger?
Yeah.
Did he say anything?
Yeah. I heard this noise.
What kind of noise?
Sorry. I watched him cut off Ben's hair. Why did he kill me?
fell and 6 days ago.
Law firm?
Family.
Thanks. Mrs. Vanderwall, you intern, you moved your daughter out of school.
Yes, I did.
After that, you filed for divorce from Ben. This man left you alive for a reason. I need to know if these two things are connected.
A few months ago, I found a picture of Allison at Ben's home.
Your daughter.
She was naked.
Where was it taken? Did you confront him?
Yes. He claimed that Allison sent it to him by mistake. She meant to send it to another student at her school. It's called sexting.
What did Allison say?
She said Ben took it, but she lies. Allison, she's a liar. She caused us a lot of trouble, you know.
She was lying about this, though, was she?
No.
The hand removal is less than surgical. He used a basic double-tooth saw.
So the guy we're looking for has no medical training.
Not the kind.
One in the heart, one in the brain, close range. The second one tried it by the ear. How about gunshot residue? Surprisingly little. Maybe it's because the killer was using a .22. Small caliber, small district. Okay. Listen, ballistics can't match the bullets to a gun. With no rifling marksman. There's only one explanation for that.
Well, if anyone had a motive to kill Ben Vanderwall, it was Heather's ex-husband,
He was in San Diego and he has no connection to the other two victims.
David Rossi. Finally get to meet Detective Gil Hardesty. Very, very nice to have you with us.
Morgan, what'd you find? In all cases, the .22 caliber bullets have no rifling marks.
I mean, without the barrel being rifled, the bullets would have very little velocity. You'd have to shoot us for a point blank.
JJ, this guy's using a zip gun. Now, if you know what you're doing, a piece of plumbing or a kid's bicycle pump can deter
Wait, the social worker and the suspected rape case, those were matters of record. Ben Vanderwaal's relationship with his stepdaughter is not.
Unless the stepdaughter told someone else.
I'll call Rossi.
I'll have the daughter brought in. All three crimes were against children. Okay, thanks, Chris. Cuban, no doubt. Contraband. Some laws are just plain unjust. You know, those three individuals messed with kids. They got what they deserve. It all depends on your definition of justice. Same as when we were kids. Do what you gotta do to survive. What about this guy? There's only one guy that's this specific. Name? Basura. I spoke to Heather last night. I knew for a long time something was up with this. Why didn't you tell me?
Mr. Santos, Allison is the victim.
I just want to know the truth from her. For once.
I told you. I don't know what you're talking about. You have the pictures your stepfather took.
He was always home before 9. We just talked at first.
Why didn't you tell me?
I knew she'd tell Dad. He always said he'd kill anyone who made a hand.
How long has he been operating? 12 years. Ghost. I've heard that name. So. He's a character. Jacobean tragedy. Duchess of Alpha. Persona brutally slays the Duchess. Would be a tragedy. Do you love her? I don't care about the good life. What about you? Federal prison, Alton 2. I'll bring you Vaseline tonight. You better bring a mean call. Allison, did you ever tell anyone about what you stole?
Was I hurt her because of her attention? I'm so sorry, Daddy.
You don't know what to be sorry for.
His name, please. Your therapist.
Jerry Stower? Am I a suspect? Exactly, Mr. Stower.
What's your professional opinion of Allison?
You mean was she sexually abused by her stepmother?
Bothers me so bad that I don't have
Absolutely. What part of the team? They had the arrest. They came to my office. Allison wanted nothing to do with it.
somehow about 1,000 Apple cords. You cannot tell me I don't have those. One cord I need. Just one cord.
Every time I listen to a child give it to the defense, it also Ricky acts abuse.
Well, if you say so.
Oh wow, I guess this is just not.
That's all I'm capable of. After that, like you, I trust in the justice system. Rossi, midnight, my restaurant. Most people never meet us. Those that do only ever meet it once. If he smells the fat, I'm gonna end up like the Duchess. That would be a tragedy. Hey! I've never said anything out of turn. Go on. Always you treated me nice. I'd line every time I see you. I'll close the restaurant. good guys out there. This man, mean son of a bitch. We're all over. Except I know what hit him. Hey, kid. Smart. He's no help. Read here. Crossword question. 10 letters. Crater crew. 10 letters. Crater creator.
Arctangent.
Did you get that? Damn, she's smart. Did you see that? Flash? I saw that. He's already in there. All units, go, go, go!
Inches long. Next, I'm putting in some shredded low moisture mozzarella, and obviously at this point I could see how if you just want to put some bacon in there, some kind of sausage, meat, any other kind of melting cheese. In fact, I will put a list right there if you want to try something else. As you can see, it's a beautiful list, but for now sticking to the original, going in with the mash. I mean, I can see how this is going to be cool with the mash. It's going to be one big gooey thing in the middle here. And here we go, more shredded mozz on top. Now we're just gonna start balling it up, kind of like if you've ever made a soup dumpling or a pork bun or something like that. But you know, again, it's not gonna be the end of the world if you don't get this right. Like, I'm not very good at this, more or less. Bunching it up on the top here. Make sure that's really pinched closed before you start rolling it out again. Now we flip again and we start rolling again. See a little air bubble here. I'm actually gonna pop that just to let that out because I didn't want it blowing up in the pan. Get it just a little smaller than the original size. About 9 inches done. There we go. I know it's not perfect. Nobody and nothing is, right? Let's go. Let's cook it.
But before we cook our cheesy bread, let me introduce today's sponsor, Trade.
Trade Coffee is a coffee subscription service that partners with 55 of the nation's top-rated independent roasters. And they offer a wide selection of over 450 unique roasts. One of the things I personally love most about Trade Coffee is that every single bag is roasted fresh on demand before being delivered to your door. And if you're a coffee head like I am, you know that roast date is really important. It's also great that they choose roasters that uphold high ethical and sustainable sourcing standards. In my life, 90% of the time when I'm drinking coffee, it's in the form of espresso, which is why I chose these 3 amazing espresso roasts from Trade. And honestly, I've enjoyed all 3 for different reasons, but this Mother Tongue Coffee Nebula Dark Roast has been my favorite. It's really good stuff. And you gotta love that packaging. That's super cool. Upgrade your morning routine with better coffee. Right now, Trade is offering my viewers a free bag of coffee with any subscription when they sign up at drinktrade.com/thatdudecancook. That's drinktrade.com/thatdudecancook for a free bag of coffee with any subscription purchase. drinktrade.com/thatdudecancook. Next, I'm just bringing a non-stick pan up to medium-low heat, and I'm adding a good amount of unsalted butter here. I've never used one of these brushes to do this before. First time for everything. Here we go. I'm going in with my thing, give it a little rotate. We'll just let it cook away here. After 3.5 minutes, I'm gonna brush the other side with butter. One thing I like about this recipe is the amount of butter. I'm on board. At this point, I'm gonna go ahead and flip it. Woo. Almost didn't get it around. Now on the other side, we're gonna do the same heat for 3.5 minutes, same exact deal. And here we go. I'm gonna flip it out. Whoa, it looks pretty darn good. And honestly, what I would have done is put it out on a rack. When you put these bready things out onto a cutting board and there's no air flowing underneath, they can tend to get soggy on that side. So I would recommend doing this if you have one. If not, just stick a little spatula or something under it so it has a little airflow. The only difference between mine and hers is I think hers was a little more compact, so a little thicker, but same difference. Once that's cooled for about a minute, I'm gonna get it out and we're gonna slice it up into 8 pieces like so. Wow, it feels good. No lie, that feels good. And the last thing to do was just to melt some honey because that's what she serves it with. Here we go. Well, it looks gooey and delicious. We're getting that awesome cheese pull. I suppose I'll just dip it in a little bit of the honey. was better than I thought it was gonna be. Rating is on the way. Ooh, look at that. Ooh. Marcus, why don't you come give us a shot, man? Kind of like a cheesy potato quesadilla with a little bit of mayonnaise in there. I'm not sure I'm super down with the mayonnaise flavor inside the quesadilla. Like, I don't know, I might almost enjoy this more if it just had cheese in it. If I were to make this again, I would make that same dough. Then I would do straight mozzarella cheese in the middle. I would cook it in olive oil and then brush it with garlic butter and finish it with freshly shaved Parmesan cheese and dip it in marinara. I mean, that's just a variation that I want to make. Having said that, for the base recipe, I would give that a 7.2. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. It's worth making even just like this. You know, like I find myself wanting to go back in for another bite. I like the honey here. If you enjoy simple homemade doughs, I'll put a recipe right next to me for breakfast burritos that have these incredible homemade flour tortillas inside. And as always, there is links to my favorite products down in the description, as well as merch available if you want to help support the channel. Thanks for watching, and until next time, you know I love you and
I
I'm out.
never used to like corn, but I do.
He was just talking about breakfast.
What's up, dude?
burritos.
Have you ever seen any of those viral cooking videos on
The
YouTube
only
where it's
thing
just
I
a pair
don't
of
like about
hands,
corn
peaceful music, and no...
Is they
You know those
call
super
it
viral
fried
cooking
cheese,
videos on
so
YouTube with
you
millions
can't
upon millions of views? They always have these clickbait titles like I cook this almost every single day. And personally, I'm always wondering if these recipes are worth the hype. So today, I'm gonna put one of these recipes to the test in this new series. We'll see about that. And as always, there is no time to waste. Now let's go! Today's hyped up recipe is coming from the channel Cooking Every Day. And we're gonna be recreating their most popular recipe. It's titled, I've Never Eaten Such Delicious Toast. So it looks like it's 4 simple and delicious everyday toast recipes. Okay, got my iced coffee ready, and here we go. Starting with a plain old piece of bread, and she's cutting out a circle with a glass. Okay, so my mom used to make these for me all the time, and she called them Texas One-Eyes, which later I discovered no one has ever in history called it that, right? I think my cameraman Marcus told me that these things are called toad in the holes, is that right? Which I know as a British dish. I actually just posted a recipe about that. I like these kind of recipes because it reminds me of my childhood. Looks like for the first one here, we have butter, eggs, green onion, and cheddar cheese. And then she's putting a little lid on it. I mean, that looks good, but we'll see. Here we go with the second recipe. This one's starting with eggs, salt, pepper, and paprika. Then she's simply adding parsley, green onion, and mozzarella cheese to that egg mix. Then we just dip our bread into that egg mixture and fry it off in a pan. That's even easier than the first one. It's almost like some kind of savory French toast. I actually really like the way it looks when those green herbs hit the pan. That color gets unlocked. Beautiful looking toast. But again, it's super simple. I can't see this being like blow my face off amazing. This is like a kind of a snack you would make for like a little kid that they would really love, which by all means is great. Oh, okay, then she's finishing it with sriracha. That's the adult version. Spice it up. She's crazy, man. What's she gonna do next? So insane. Here we go with the third recipe. Yeah, get that shell out of there. Can't have that. Starting with eggs, bell pepper, salt, pepper, green onion. Another very simple recipe. She's cutting the bread with a pizza roller. Whatever works, right? She's pouring in that egg mixture and then topping it with more cheddar cheese. And then the bread goes back on. It gives the house a little roof. These are all kind of really pretty similar, you know what I mean? For the final recipe, let's see what's up. She's getting crazy. Marcus, she's tearing the bread up into little pieces. Like she's gonna feed it to a pigeon. Grape tomatoes. So that's it, salt, pepper, and eggs, and she's pouring it over those little ripped pieces of bread. Ooh, it's getting nice and soggy. She's going in with olive oil this time. No butter, olive oil. This is so simple, I don't know where it's going, but it's funny that it's just eggs and bread. I would have thought there would be like cheese and herbs again, but no. So let's see what happens. Fry for a few minutes, give it a flip. Spread tomato sauce on top of the pancake, she says. Tomato sauce, like pizza sauce? Okay, mozzarella cheese. And then the grape tomatoes are going on top. This is like something like a stoner would make at like 2 in the morning. Bro, you gotta try what I made, man. It's so good, dude. I'm not gonna knock it until I try it, but I don't like the look of that one. I'm sorry. But that is what this series is about. Is it worth the hype? Well, we will see about that. At the end, we'll give it a rating 1 through 10, and if it's really good, we're gonna absolutely destroy my fridge, which is just something we do around here. If you're new, I don't know what to tell you. Just keep watching, okay?
What
Here's
would
my
be
little
your
piece of
main
bread.
way of
Some
killing
sort of
someone?
funny loaf I got here. It has these little ears. Doesn't matter, it's all the same thing. I'm gonna take a glass here. Go
Sniping?
ahead and punch out a circle, like so. so my glass isn't that sharp. May have to just get in there with a knife. May not look pretty, but it works.
Dude, I think
Non-stick
poison.
pan here over
Ooh,
medium-low heat.
poisoning. That's
Unsalted
actually
butter
really
going
smart
in.
of them.
In goes the bread. I'm gonna roll it around a little bit. I'm gonna dab a little more butter in the middle. We're gonna crack an egg right in there. You never seen anything like this in your life. I'm not sure why my mom called this a Texas one. I think moms just make stuff up because it's fun. It's funny to lie to your children.
That
I'm gonna
shit
do
is
the
called
same
an egg
because
in a
we hand
basket.
things down.
That is
And
what
here's what
that
she
is
does: salt, pepper, a little bit of green onion in there, some chopsticks. She sort of scrambles the egg like inside of here. Never seen anything like this. A little bit of cheddar cheese right there, and then we put the cut out circle of bread back on top, and then we need to flip it. And she didn't do this, but I just can't help but to brush a little bit of butter on here so it doesn't dry out. And here we go, time for a flip. Beep, beep, beep. Wow, it looks surprisingly good. I'm gonna cook it on the other side for another, I don't know, 90 seconds or so. Swirl it in the butter, swirl it in the butter. Other side is nice and toasty. I'm gonna take it out. There we are. Let's cut it in half and see what this looks like in the middle and give it a taste. I mean, you know, I like these kind of things. You know, it's really simple. I'm gonna go right for the middle.
You hand that to me on the way out the door, I'd be pumped.
Bread toasted in butter, cheddar cheese, egg, green onions, 7.4. What's your rating?
I give it a 7 too.
Okay. What, you can't give a lower rating than me? Like you're Mr. Critical?
I'm really critical.
I thought you said you liked it. And here we go with recipe number 2, starting by cracking 3 eggs, adding a little pinch of salt. Sergeant Gilbert reporting for duty. That's our little sentient pepper grinder. He's part of the show, okay? You think it's weird? It's like aliens exist, man, and you think my pepper grinder is weird? You know, what are you talking about?
Yeah, dude, you think that's weird, dude?
Next up, a little bit of smoked paprika going in. Pop the egg yolks. Always helps when you're whisking up eggs, and we're gonna go ahead and just beat these. Something about the look of red spices in eggs grosses me out a little bit. If you know, you know. You know, green onion, parsley, just chopped it up, and mozzarella cheese. By the way, that's low moisture mozzarella. Most of the times when you're melting cheese, that is kind of the preferred one. I was supposed to put it in something big enough to fit the bread, kind of failed on that one. So onto a plate it goes, and here we go, egg going in. I think she kind of dipped hers in pretty quickly, but you know what? I'm gonna let mine sit. I'm gonna put some on top. And by the way, with that amount of egg, you could probably get away with doing 3 or 4 slices of toast. And here we go, back into a pan over medium-low heat. Just a little bit of butter melted in there, same as the last recipe. Just about 2 minutes, I'm gonna flip, and then we'll cook on this side for another 2 minutes or so. I just removed it from the pan, and the last thing I'm gonna do, just hit it with a little sriracha, as I see her do in the video. Let's slice this one in half and get a peek at the middle here. Let's get Marcus back in here and try this out. I like the look of this one more. Mozzarella cheese, herbs, sriracha, paprika. I like the paprika. I like the little bit of spice. Because the bread soaked up the egg more, this one's a little bit moister in your mouth. I don't know, what do you think?
Like savory French toast, you said.
I'll go 7.6 on that. It's pretty good.
I'll do the same rating.
Third recipe, starting with an egg, which I've realized looks pretty much exactly like my head. It's funny that as soon as I go bald, I start making all these egg videos. What kind of weird is that? Starting with 1 egg, some chopped sweet bell pepper, green onion, salt, and pepper. Again with a good mix. And in this one, she made an actual square, so I'm gonna go ahead and do that. Don't have a pizza roller here, but I think this will work. Out she comes. Now we have this little square thing. Same deal, pan with a little bit of butter, throw a little more in the middle, and in with the eggs. And again, with a little bit of cheddar cheese. I'm starting to get a little confused now because this is the same as the first one, except there's bell pepper. And it's square. Square tastes better, bro. Always go square. Square shapes taste better. And again, we go in with that little cap right there. I'm gonna brush a little butter on this piece again. After about 2 minutes, I'll flip. Another 2 minutes on that other side and we're done. Let's give it a try, although I kind of know how it's gonna taste. All right, Marcus, my friend, let's try this thing.
Dude, you can taste the square.
Square is good. All joking aside, I actually like this better than the first one. It's the same as the first one, except it has a little bell pepper.
No, I like this one better too, actually.
Bell pepper, like, it's just a kind of flavor of breakfast, at least in America. I'll go, I'm going 7.7 on that one. That's my highest rating so far. I've enjoyed this one the most.
I'll go 7.6.
Fair enough. It's like Price is Right. For our 4th and final recipe, we're gonna start by tearing up 3 pieces of bread into little pieces. Does not have to be perfect. This is the one I'm actually the most curious about. It's some kind of like frittata, strata, omelet, pizza, breakfast, marinara thing. I don't have super high hopes, so we'll see. In my mind, this is gonna be my least favorite one, but I don't know. Anything could happen. Then simply just crack 4 eggs. One of my recent videos was a master class on eggs, so I'm just like kind of sick of eggs right now. I'm sick of my head. We'll just give these a nice mix. Salt going in, pepper, and dump it all over your bread.
Make sure all that bread gets some of the egg, make a big goopy mess. I got the pan on the heat just a touch under medium. I'm adding a little bit of olive oil. Here we go. And we're gonna flatten that. Here we go. Wow. And we'll pop a lid on it and let it cook for about 3 minutes. I've got that cooking behind me. While that happens, I'm just gonna slice some grape tomatoes in half, like so. 3 minutes are up. I know I should probably use a spatula, but I like living on the edge. Ready? Oh, just flawless technique. Then we'll cook for another couple of minutes on the other side. A little bit of store-bought tomato sauce right on here. I'm not gonna knock it until I try it, but it looks to me like it's an overcooked omelet pizza thing. I don't know about this. Next, mozzarella cheese, thin little layer, and our cherry tomatoes. Tomato, 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 potato. There we go. Some parsley and cheese. Again, pop a cover on it and we'll cook it for another 3 minutes or so until everything's nice and melted. There we go, it took about 4 minutes. Cheese is melted, out it comes. Let's give this thing a try. I'm gonna go ahead and use a knife I don't really care about. I don't wanna eat any more eggs. It looks cool, I still don't have high hope. No joke, I'm sorry to the original creator. I almost spit it out. The amount of time you cook the eggs, that they're so overcooked, I have that wet dog. You smell the wet dog?
I'll be honest, I kind of like it.
You like it? Oh my God, really? I don't like this.
I'm from New York. This tastes exactly like pizza.
No, it doesn't. Shut up. My
Gross.
biggest problem with this is the doneness of the eggs. Overcooked eggs for me are just, I'm sorry, it's so gross. The brown eggs never taste good. I mean, Marcus likes it more than I do. This is definitely by far my least favorite one. I'm gonna give that like a literal 3.6. I'm sorry, that's my score on that.
Pizza toppings are so good. Just get a piece of toast or something and put all those things on. Like the
Right.
egg is a weird thing.
That's a good way of putting it.
It's
'cause-
like 6.7 maybe.
Okay, I'm getting a tomato off the top with the cheese and the sauce.
I mean, the toppings on pizza are undefeated.
That was delicious. It just doesn't need to be over a freaking egg pancake.
You put that over anything, it's good. I'll
Anything
suck that
else.
off the floor.
I recently just did my own video, which is a whole masterclass on pan-fried eggs. If you want to learn more about that, there's a video right next to me. And as always, there are links down in the description. What's up, dude? Over the course of my 20-year career as a professional restaurant chef, I've spent about 5 of those years serving breakfast. And in that time, I've definitely developed a preference for how I personally like my eggs cooked. So in this video, I'm gonna show you 7 preparations for eggs so you never ever screw them up again. And as always, there is no time to waste. Now let's go! Our first preparation is going to be over easy eggs, which is probably by far the most common egg you're going to see ordered at your local breakfast place.
Something's different about you.
New shirt, man. Yeah. Take my non-stick skillet here. I'm going to bring that up to medium heat, which usually means leaving it on the fire for about 2 minutes. And I'm going restaurant style here just by using some neutral oil. This is avocado oil. You could use another one if you wish, although I'm not that down with vegetable oil. And of course, if you want, you can also use butter. That tastes really good, but you have to be a little more careful with the heat so you don't burn it. Crack your eggs in, and I'll just swirl, make sure they're loose. Now, just a word of warning, in this video, there's gonna be a good bit of yoking around. I don't need to explain myself, it's just dumb dad jokes. I'm not a dad yet, but I like the jokes. And that's it, just a little over a minute, those whites are starting to set. You wanna shake the eggs into the bottom of the pan and just gently flip over like so. You could use a spatula, but I do prefer the flip, if you can pull it off. And then I'll simply just go 20 seconds on that side and flip back. At this point, you can kill the heat, and we'll go ahead and serve them up. And if you want, you can season the egg in the pan, although I just like doing it after. That's just how I do it, because I'm using this flaky Malden sea salt. And sometimes when I season them in the pan, because the salt is very crystal-like, it will actually pop the yolk when I flip them. So I just do it after. Of course, a little bit of Sergeant Gilbert reporting for duty, my little fuzzy friend. Over easy is going to give you that really runny yolk, as you see right here. It should ooze out like so. My problem with over easy eggs is when I order them in restaurants, I swear they're cooking them in half the time that I just showed you how to do it, and I get that snotty white, which I absolutely hate. If the white is ever undercooked, it's not for me. Just a perfect egg, perfect runny yolk, always a solid choice. For our next egg, we're going over medium, which is actually something I really love to order out at restaurants. For these eggs, you want to start the exact same way. The only difference with the over medium is we're going to cook them for 2 minutes on that first side before we do the flip, and then we'll double the length of time on the other side, so 40 seconds.
Whoop, and flip. Heat off. We'll let them sit in the pan for another 10-15 seconds, and then we'll serve them up. Same deal, salt on top. And these ones are gonna have a little bit of runniness, but not as much as that over easy egg. As you can see, it's only spilling out a tiny bit. It's more of like a gelled sort of texture, if you will, which for me is actually almost the perfect execution of an egg. Exceptional, and here's why. When I go out to eat at breakfast restaurants, I never order eggs over easy. Because when I do, I'm always getting the undercooked snotty egg white. I find that when I order eggs over medium in a restaurant, they actually come out how over easy is supposed to be. That's my observation anyway. I really love the texture of that yolk. And there's a tiny bit more crunch on the bottom, which is also really nice. A good experience. For the third egg, we're gonna do over hard, which look, to each their own. If you like it, you like it. Here's how you do it.
You sure there's nothing different about you?
Oh man, I grew a little bit of a goatee. Same way you start the over easy and over medium, crack them in. These ones we're gonna flip after 2 minutes and 30 seconds. Of course, if you don't like this crunch and you like that slimy texture more, we don't agree on that, but just turn down the heat a little bit. Obviously, that's gonna work just fine. I like a little bit of crunch on the edge of the white. That's perfect for me. And flip back after 1 minute and 30 seconds. Whoa, oh, hey.
Raw ground beef on a fresh tortilla? I'm not so sure about that. Let's make the viral cheeseburger taco.
Cheeseburger tacos.
So the preparation for these burger tacos is kind of why we're a little skeptical about this recipe. So what I'm seeing people do is just get a nice little ball of hamburger meat and then press it down on a tortilla. And realistically, that just seems a little, I don't even know if the word is gross to me. Maybe I'm thinking unsanitary. I'm not too sure, but it just doesn't seem like something that we would typically do. And when I'm watching people make these on TikTok, when I'm looking through the comments, I'm actually seeing a lot of people saying the same exact thing, but everybody that's making them makes them look so delicious in the end that we knew we had to try this. Now, I've also seen people do this a few different ways, but I actually like the way that I saw somebody do this when they just evenly spreaded it out throughout the whole tortilla. And the reason is because I saw some people do like a smash burger style, and then the patty ended up being really small in comparison with the whole tortilla. And of course, I want meat in every single bite that I've got here. So if you look really closely, again, you'll see that there's a nice thin layer of that hamburger meat. I already know that this doesn't look right, but I think in the end it is going to look it, so let's move on with the rest.
It looks so weird.
And now because we want this to taste like a hamburger, we're going to season it up like a hamburger. We're going to start with Killer Hog's AP seasoning. I just want a nice good coat over this hamburger meat. And now on top of that AP, we're gonna add a nice layer of Killer Hog steak rub. These two seasonings are gonna add a nice salty flavor here, and of course there's gonna be that texture. I'll put a link in the description below. Today we're cooking on our Weber Grill's 28-inch griddle, and I have all of my burners on medium heat. I'm just gonna throw these right in the middle. You guys can hear a nice little sizzle there. And I'm gonna set a timer for 4 minutes. I just want to make sure to get these nice and fully cooked before we flip them over. And I know I told you guys 4 minutes, but since we have not done this recipe before, it's been 2.5 minutes, and I'm just going to go ahead and flip one of these to see where we're at. And I'll tell you what, that looks really good. That looks really good, actually. I would say that 4 minutes is probably a little bit too long because that right there is looking like it's going to be fully cooked in just a minute. Let's go ahead and flip the other one over. Oh yeah, those are looking incredible. You see a nice little crust here on this burger. Don't forget, we didn't smash it down, so we don't have that full Maillard reaction, but it still looks absolutely incredible. And while we're at it, we're gonna go ahead and add some cheese right here to the top of this hamburger meat. And I'm gonna be completely honest with you guys. I think just a few things, let me stop my timer. I think just a few things are going wrong with this cook so far. So one thing that I will say is it looks like there's too much oil on the surface itself. I don't think that this necessarily needs that much oil because as you're cooking this burger, it is releasing those juices and kind of creating it itself. You can see right here on the outside of these tortillas, it's really not looking that good. It's looking a little bit too soggy if you ask me. Let's go ahead and let this cheese melt. We'll start this process again and we will nail these tacos. Okay, our cheese is nice and melted around a minute and a half later. So we're just gonna start building our tacos. I'm gonna put a little bit of lettuce here. Then we're gonna go some pickles. I like extra. Then we're gonna go over top with some nice yellow mustard. I like extra mustard too. And here is phase one of our taco burger. Again, off the bat, what I'm seeing right here is it looks like there's a little bit too much oil going on. The tortilla may be a little bit soggy, but let's take a quick bite and see how everything turned out. I wanted to show you guys really quickly what the bottom of this tortilla looks like, and I will say that it actually looks pretty good. Barring all the grease that's on there, it does look pretty good. You guys can see it right here in the camera. But now let's take a quick bite. Got my plate here. I'm going to try and fold this in half. Why does everything I make look so big all the time? That's probably why I'm big. This is humongous. This looks humongous. Okay, let's take a quick bite. It's going to be hot. I'm not even going to front. I actually don't think we need to change anything on that at all. Originally I did, but the tortilla is actually nice and crunchy. So I thought there was going to be too much oil, but I think it actually kind of added that crunch to it. It almost fried the tortilla, made it into a little bit of a shell-like texture, and it just turned out really, really good. So some of the tortilla came off right here, and you guys can see that the meat is actually cooked completely perfectly. It's completely juicy still. So if you guys take a look at that taco, it is completely filled. Just looks absolutely incredible. So we were actually going to remake these, but I don't think we need to. We did 2 minutes on the meat side, flipped them over, let the cheese melt, and they'll build our burgers exactly the way we wanted to. We will make a little bit more of these just so we can eat for dinner, but I've got an idea to make something even better than these hamburger tacos. So come on inside, let's look in the fridge. The other day we got some stuff to make an epic breakfast. I've got some Whataburger sausage here. I, of course, have some Simply potatoes, the shredded hash browns. I think that we can make a breakfast taco exactly the same way we just made that burger. It's going to be super duper delicious. So like I just talked a second ago, we want to make this a little bit more epic. So we're going to start off with some grilled vegetables. We're putting these on first because they will take just a minute. Don't drop your platter right on your griddle. That can definitely cause some melting. We just want to get these nice and sauteed. This will take a few minutes. Move everything around. And I wish you guys could smell this because it just smells incredible, and it's only one component of what we're making here. Now I'm going to put a little bit of bacon up over here in one corner. I don't want this oil all over, but I definitely want some here. And then we're going to throw down some of these mashed potatoes. I'm sorry, we're going to throw down some of these hash browns. I don't know why I said mashed potatoes. Just going to go ahead and spread these out nice and even. We don't need too much. We definitely want this to still look like a taco. I still want it to be foldable. So while I do want there to be hash browns in my bite, I don't want it to be too thick, so I'm going with a light layer here. I'm also going to go ahead and hit the top of this with a little bit of AP as well. And we'll let both of these hang out for just a little bit. I'm not going to start the other components of the cook just for a few minutes because I know these are going to take the longest to cook. Our grilled veggies are almost where we want them, so now I just kind of want to take a look at our hash browns. So just to make sure, I'm going to go ahead and cut them in half, and I'm going to flip one side. We're going to take a look at how done it is. If it's completely done, we know the other part is good and we can flip it, but if it's not, of course, we can just kind of judge and base our flip off of that. So, real quick, okay, that's looking good to me. I mean, I could say that I probably want a little bit more texture than that, so we'll let this go for another 3 to 5 minutes, and then we'll flip it over and we'll get them all cooked together. Now for our breakfast version of this cheeseburger taco, instead of using the ground beef, we're going to be using that Whataburger sausage. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to start with this ground sausage here. I'm going to flatten it out, nice layer, and just make sure to get a nice even coat on both of these tortillas. Now I'm just going to go over top very, very lightly with some AP. And now it's time to go straight onto the griddle. Just like before, I just want to smash this down just a little. Just a few minutes later, we're going to go ahead and flip. Oh my gosh, that looks so flippin' good. Holy smokes, that for sure looks way better than the burger did. I think we got a little bit better surface contact there, and it just looks outrageous. So because we're going oh my gosh, there's no way I just did that. Holy crap. Oh my god. There's no way. Alright, we're gonna keep going. Okay, because we're going breakfast themed on this one, oh my gosh, I can't believe that just happened. Now I'm afraid to crack the egg. Okay, we're gonna start with 1 over easy egg here. How did I do that? That literally cracked perfectly and went straight down the side. Is it down here? It actually didn't even go through. All good, all gravy. I'm gonna add a tiny bit of AP over top. Woo!
Dude, this guy
That looks
loves
good.
this.
We're gonna go ahead and put some cheese right over top of our breakfast sausage. I'm gonna let that get nice and melty. I'm gonna flip this over easy egg. We're gonna let that cook for just a few seconds. Okay, 1 over easy egg is done. And we're gonna go ahead and start on one more. Little AP. Gonna go ahead and take off our sauteed veggies. Now we wanna flip our over easy egg. Woo! Got it, baby. I can cook a lot of things, but an over easy egg is definitely not always one of them. Give that just a few seconds. Cheese is... That looks incredible. I don't even know what to say. What I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna get some of our sauteed onions and peppers. Put it on both of these here. I'm gonna put a nice little sliver of our potatoes right on top. We're gonna go ahead and top with one of our over easy eggs. And right here is our breakfast burger taco. I personally think this is gonna be much better than the original, but of course, now it's time to try it. Now, one of the things that I will say is a lot of people are arguing that these are tostadas. And I think if you leave it like this, then it definitely is. But the way people are eating them is they're actually folding them up, and that turns it into that taco. So this one's gonna be a little... Oh, it's so crunchy and crispy under that it's almost about to bust and just fall apart, but let's please not let that happen. Another cheese bite. That right there is the winner chicken dinner, 1,000,000%. This one tastes better than the original. The original was delicious. This right here just brings out that deliciousness, the pork flavor, the hash browns, the texture from there, the grilled and sauteed, well, I'm sorry, the grilled or sauteed, or the grilled jalapenos and the onions just taste so good. Of course, the over easy egg on top, RIP to that one little egg. But this one turned out so incredible. The tortilla is perfect, just absolutely perfect. You guys want to keep it flat and eat it like a tostada? That's completely fine. We decided to turn it into tacos, and I'll tell you what, the viral trend, hey, it worked. It tastes really good. You guys try it for yourself if you have already tried it. Let me know in the comments down below. How do you make it? Does it taste good? And what would you do to make this a little bit better? Also, do you think it's gross to put the raw meat right on the tortilla? I definitely did, but after eating this, I have no complaints. As always, we really appreciate you guys tuning into this video. Once again, RIP to that little egg. Thanks, and we'll see you on the next one.
Bro, this is the kind of ASMR I needed in my life. It's cooking ASMR.
Oh yeah?
Oh yeah. Just the cutting sounds on the board. That's what I needed.
You know what I think a kink of mine is?
Hmm.
You literally ripping the arm hair out of my arms.
What?
I feel like that would really enjoy it.
Oh, okay. Just like, listen to that sound. It's just good. It makes me want to cook. The sound is
Like,
just...
we only got money for cooking, babe.
Yeah, that's on facts. We love some garlic. some onions. We love some mushrooms, except for you. Do you think you'll ever like any kind of mushroom, or you're just like definitely turned off the mushroom
I
thing?
don't know. What kind of question is that?
Like, what is it you don't like about it? The texture?
I don't like. They taste too earthy to me.
Okay. I wonder if there's a way to kind of get out of that. Get the earthiness. Because mushrooms are like one of my favorite things ever. Yo, you want to do mushrooms?
No.
Cigar? Yeah, it's nice. Look, I'm just picking up my girlfriend.
Probably be looking a little sloppy, but alright. Good. Alright. Yeah.
You didn't give me enough little baggies, fucking assholes.
Bro, did he just make waffles out of this shit? What a legend.
Dude, they didn't give me enough baggies. That's like fucked, bro.
Is that syrup? Okay. Wow. I've never seen someone so dramatically slide up their food in my life. What?
I just don't like that.
Oh, that's not good. One-handed crack. I love it. Oh my god, this guy is just trying to get me food when I'm there now. Food gas, and I'm just watching this.
Neutral.
Bro, these look so good. No way. My man's using French fries now?
Sorry for just showing up like this. I heard on the news that there were more victims and I didn't know where else to get answers. Thank you. So I wasn't sure, was it the same?
Rainbow peppercorns? We love that. The gay month.
Do you have any suspects? Explain it to me. Please.
Honey, you just gotta listen to this for a minute and you'll understand what I'm saying. Kebab sauce? The fuck is kebab sauce? Okay, we need to like just listen to him cook. This is some great ASMR shit. You look very unimpressed and haven't even listened yet.
Majority of the population of Southeast is black. Black to fiance
This
sense.
sounds really, really gross.
Mm-hmm.
But I kind of like eating ASMR.
Ew.
I don't know, there's just something satisfying about it.
Eating ASMR?
Yeah.
Here's in restaurants, if this group of men fits the description, these men will be obsessed with the media coverage. Any chance to bring up their names, since they got the past crime scenes, there's a good chance that they'll visit them. They most likely come from troubled backgrounds, broken homes, youth detention centers, or probably bonded over their anger. And now it's like they've become one person. It's their whole identity. See, these guys, they think of themselves as some type of gangsters, like society's wisdom and piety. They equate violence with power and respect, and that goes for self-respect as well.
Is it possible to get out of killing innocent people for no reason?
People like this, they're not like you and me. In a way, they only feel alive when they're creating fear and chaos.
And your profiles to help catch these people. Thank you for helping me through this.
I just wanted to say one thing to you. It's not my intention to accuse you of being unprofessional. Yeah. It's just that I know what it's like to work a case that makes you question humanity, and it's not the worst thing to work for some Jurassic villain or believes ourselves. I appreciate you can.
This guy's production value is just out of this world.
We probably spent a lot of money on it.
Yeah, I'm sure he did. Shit costs so much money, but and the sound is very, very good. That kind of just seems like regular waffles to me.
There's over 1,000 hits already. It's a plan to vandalize cars and restaurants for profits.
Do you feel like you're gonna get hungry tonight, or do you just kind of want to like eat something small tonight? Like, what are you feeling?
Probably something small.
Like a sandwich or something?
Yeah, maybe.
Peanut butter and jelly kind of sounds fire right now, to be honest. I'm done with ASMR. I needed a little bit of that in my life. Let's see what else we got going on.
Talk to the bee cops. They're getting word out to local businesses to keep an eye on who seems agitated by the news of last week's riot.
Right now, Andrews has to know that none of those kids are the young subs. And he's bound to beef up police presence in Southeast, which should be there too.
There's somebody over here. Let's go. Oh my god.
This was in one, bro.
Three drafts. I'm sorry for thinking that. Well, this, it's a liability issue, that's all. In case somebody gets hurt. No problem.
First, I would like to say that I love you, and the thing I love most about you is how much you care about people.
First thing, what?
I think you need to cut contact with our friends.
I didn't make contact with her. She was at the police station.
Yeah, okay, look, maybe I didn't tell her. First break in this case, you don't want to it's yourself.
No, but she lost her brother. She just wants answers.
I get it. I volunteer counseling this family's life. I know what she's going through.
Then where's this coming from?
Okay, let's just ignore the whole ethical dilemma because that's just too big. And if you were to testify on this case, the whole thing might unravel if anyone were to find out that you're involved with a member of the victim's family.
Stop. I love you. And I respect you. You know that. But right now, you're way out of bounds. I'm not involved.
The team is you're working on a case, and you're with her. You're involved.
For your information, she lost it back at the station, so I drove her home. End of story.
But not for her, Derek. She's so sad and so confused and angry and desperately looking for anyone to swoop in and make it all better. And unless you're all in, it can be there for every stage of the grieving process. You're just another reason for her to not trust the world.
She's simply trying to understand why this happened.
That is not why. Angelina's so crazy trying to find her.
Don't tell me.
By herself, these two dead. They're waiting for you.
So you're telling me he's called Buzz, and they gave him wings, but he doesn't buzz, and he can't fly. That's a hornet. Be careful.
The last time I made love was almost up.
James, you ready to drive first?
Yeah, coming. What's our intro for this?
I don't know, but that bee sure is sexy.
Right now, you have a crime scene, and we're here to help. Andy Clark should just answer the phone first.
You're watching Throttle House. I'm Thomas. And I'm James. And this is the Dodge Hornet.
Honda is too practical for you, a Toyota too reliable, and a Mazda simply too luxurious. If that's the case, then perhaps your $30,000 stack of American Benjamins is better off in the hands of Dodge and their new performance-oriented crossover, the Hornet, built alongside its sister car, the Alfa Romeo Tonale, in Italy. Thanks to the wonderful team at Peel Chrysler, we have one today in GT form, and it has fancy things like torque vectoring and Brembo brakes, and our tester today even has the track pack. So among other things, it gets dual stage valve suspension and bigger wheels. For the price, packed with the amount of tech and performance goodies that it has, it should be a huge win. But we've been hurt before. Let's have at it. And if you're new to Throttle House, we do car reviews, track tests, and quite a lot of messing about. So subscribe, hit the bell.
It's possible. At the very least, the men we're looking for get booked here.
To 60 in 6.5 seconds, all-wheel drive is standard, and a 2-litre 4-cylinder, Hurricane 4-cylinder, the new name for their engine family, that puts out 268 horsepower and 295 pound-feet of torque. This is the baby! That's significant. That's almost WRX power. That's more torque than a GR Corolla. It does feel front-wheel drive biased, I'll say that. When I put my foot down, there's an unwanted torque steer, especially on the first to second shift. But it feels peppy. In fact, I've only got good things to say about the engine. It pulls, thanks to the 9-speed transmission, it always stays in the torque band. I just can't engage with it. There's no way to engage with it. There's no paddle shifters. The Alfa Romeo Tonale gets paddle shifters. Why don't we have that?
The answer is we do get shift paddles in the Hornet, but they're reserved for the more powerful electrified trim. The same is true for the Alfa.
All I have is this shifter down here, and I'm not going to use that. Fortunately, it stays out your way, but I'm just not used to the pairing of a sport button on a steering wheel, and then no way to engage with the transmission on the wheel itself. But consider for a moment, this is the baby. This is the Hornet GT. There's a Hornet RT coming, which has electric assistance going on, so it has more horsepower, way more torque, and it even has a power shot feature, which sounds like something I normally scroll to get to the end of an adult video, but in fact, it just increases the horsepower for a brief amount of time, which gives it a more aggressive 0 to 60 time. And then they're rumoring this go like hell version, which is just a concept at the moment. But as is, in this form, it's quick, it's engaging. So, hot hatch power numbers, and quite frankly, hot hatch pricing, does it handle like one?
Alright, since this has that Italian blood, that is, it is built in Italy beside the Alfa Romeo Tonale, it has the Alfa Romeo steering, which means the ratio is quick, and the steering is actually quite sharp.
Is there some place the two of you can stay? Yes, we have friends I can call.
After you give the police the statement, they can take you to your friend's house.
Thank you. You think they'll be okay?
I don't know. I mean, you redo your dream home? We're about to start a new chapter.
Just like the interior, I'm going to give you a quicker look of the cargo area. Remember, click the link at the end of this one. 15 to 20 Hornet's nests in here. Just make sure that you're wearing your protection suit if you're going to drive the Hornet with the Hornets in it. But you know what? If you're ready, I'm ready. Let's go on throttle and power shot this vehicle down the road.
Still, a body inside the
Guys, we are now getting to some of the twistier stuff out here in Asheville. I do have it in sport mode. That's where I'm going to keep it for right now, especially to really showcase how performance-oriented this vehicle is. With having that battery pack low in the chassis, that's definitely going to help with the handling. And of course, with the larger 20-inch wheels, really is beneficial as well. But I do like that when you go into sport mode, it just goes ahead and puts everything in that performance setting, the suspension, the drivetrain, the whole 9 yards. But going into this right-hand bend really holds the ground nicely because of the all-wheel drive. Here we go, now we're getting to something good. On the brakes. Feedback to the wheel feels nice. And as we're rolling on throttle out of the corner, it has that instant torque. I'm gonna go ahead, nobody's behind us. I'm gonna come to a complete stop. We're gonna use Power Shot to activate. You pull back on the paddles, it shows a white turbo, and then if you're ready, I'm ready, here we go, on throttle. Nice. So, like I said, getting that faster 0 to 60 time, 383 pound-feet of torque. I just would like a little bit more, especially for $52,000 would be fantastic to have a little bit more, maybe in the high 4-second range is really where this vehicle should be, especially if you're comparing it to the Kona N. And the Kona N with that front wheel drive has some pretty good pep, especially off the line. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use those surfboard style paddles, or I should say surfboard size paddles. It's got a small gear indicator, and then you go ahead and you use the paddles to go up and down that gearbox on the brakes. And remember, you got regen braking, holds the corner nicely, and then you power out. Look at this. This is where it gets fun. This is where this vehicle gets really fun on the twisty bits out here in North Carolina. And remember, to put it into manual shift mode, you have to take the shift lever and pull it over towards you, the driver. Let me go ahead, I'm gonna do an on throttle here with manual shift mode. Nobody's behind us. Go ahead and activate the Power Shot. 15 seconds of extra power. If you're ready, I'm ready. Here we go, on throttle. Watching that RPM, shifting right at the red line. Definitely getting some quicker sensation by using the paddles, but like I said, I think we both agree, or all of us that are watching right now, would agree that
Is it just a walk away? Looks like it. Just when I thought he was back on top of this game. You got at least 2 dozen cops, all looking for revenge. You got 2 psychopaths inside, ready to play out their fantasy end. You want to take your shot? Take it. My job is done. What's the time? All right. Just keep your head up and let this son of a bitch out in front.
I just bought the most expensive, full-size, adult-size, electric, street-legal motorcycle from Amazon. And according to the picture, it kind of looks like a futuristic two-wheel drive Mars rover. And with this, we're gonna solve the age-old debate of whether the brand Say Yeah, is that really their name? Whether the brand Say Yeah is the Honda-killing juggernaut that they claim to be, or whether they're just a scammy Chinese company who are trying to get you on Amazon. Either way, this bike could be yours. Yes, even you, Carlos. Because I'm gonna be giving this thing away to a subscriber. More about that later. But for now, I'm dying to see what this thing is all about. I'm dying to see what's in here. But I need to admit something to you guys. When I was very young, my parents got me a birthday gift. And like most birthday gifts, it was in a box. And as hard as I tried, I could not get that box open. I used all the tools that I had at 3-year-old Sean's disposal, and I still couldn't do it. And on that day, right then and there, I vowed that I would find the best possible way to open up a box, and that no box will ever slow me down again. Oh, that's not good. That's not. Nailed it. I think we got it. Okay, we're back here now. I think we can all admit that the little experiment we just did, that we all need an excavator to do mundane tasks around the house. But sometimes a pocket knife works just as well.
I should have used an excavator to scoop my ice cream last night.
We paid $3,700 for it. Now, if it's still online, I think there's a discount for like $3,500 for it. It looks so crazy that I was like, there's no way. I gotta buy it. That thing looks like outer space.
Looks like bubble wrap.
You can't really see nothing, can you? Let's fire this thing up. Nope. I'm actually really excited about this.
I mean, do you remember what the Amazon listing looked like?
I remember I thought it was cool. That is cool looking. Look at it.
Actually kind of like the color.
Are these the peg? No, these are not the pegs. Pegs go on there, okay. Okay, let me show you the listing of this thing. So the name of the company is, look, it's Say Yeah. Say Yeah, 3,000 watt electric motorcycles for, Say Yeah, 3,000 watts. Lithium battery, rear motor, rear hub motor, motorbike, urban commuting, outdoor field, off-road vehicle, high speed. They're just keyword stuffing this thing. It's called Typhoon. The name of this thing is Typhoon. Retro. It's retro. Retro electric motorcycle. Typhoon is a black panther. Hold up. Typhoon is a 3,000 watt retro electric motorcycle. Typhoon is a black panther. Which makes you look wild in the traffic. It can be used for off-road driving. It has 3 5-star reviews. I can almost let's look. Let's see if there are 2 of them are verified purchases. How did they scam that one? Dan, stop popping the bubbles.
Not even that much fun.
Sour grapes, Dan. Sour grapes. The specs for this bike are not that bad. They're fairly impressive. I think it says it can do like 50 miles, 50-mile range, and then it can do 43 or 45 miles per hour. By now, you're probably wondering, what is Craig doing? Well, I gave Craig a task. I said, all right, I spent $3,700 on this. You go spend $3,700 on another motorcycle. So let's go see what Craig's doing.
Okay, so Sean gave me $3,700 to go find something comparable to the bike he's unboxing. I did a little Googling on the Googler, and I showed up here at my buddy's scooter shop. We're gonna see if he has something for the money and see what we can find. I like scooters. Look at this.
No, do not.
No way.
Oh yeah, Craig, you're gonna win on that one.
I like red. I like this one. 49 cc's, 40 miles an hour. This one's in our budget, but it's only 49 cc's. Okay, so they had a lot of good stuff to look at out there, but I think we need something with a little more power. I got an idea. Let's go to the next spot.
That was my first time driving an excavator.
How did it feel?
Felt pretty awesome. First, I need to buy some property. I can justify buying an excavator. Then, buy the excavator. First, learn how to pronounce the word excavator. This thing is halfway put together. Look over here. First of all, this paint job is awful. It's so bad looking. What is in here? Watch there be like just a little tiny like children's Power Wheels style battery inside here. not plugged in. This is the battery. It's very small. Wait, this was 72 volts? Check this out. We kept this for Gary bike. And I actually don't remember if this was the stock one or if this was the upgrade one. This is the 1.6. This is the stock one. We might be able to connect this to that, give it a little bigger battery. All right, we'll get into that in a little bit. Get that thing out of here. That's where you plug it in. They could have used this space to put a bigger battery. There's nothing in here. This is all just hollow. I know a lot of people, they're always asking like, hey, what becomes of the bikes from the videos? Well, we don't really get rid of too much stuff. But this bike, we know exactly what's gonna happen with this bike. We're gonna give this bike away to a subscriber who does it, who like, they don't buy a shirt, they don't do nothing. Completely free of charge on our next live stream. We get a lot of people who are like, hey, you guys should do an unboxing live. That's a really good idea. So we're gonna be doing that. We're gonna be doing that. The date might be set. It's gonna be next month, sometime mid next month. Look at the bottom of the description to see if there's a date set. We're doing a live unboxing, giving a lot of stuff away, including this. This is gonna get given away to someone. We'll ship it to you. Don't get scammed. If it's me, I can validate, I can verify it's me. We also have a couple other motorcycles to give away. It's gonna be a lot of fun. But we're gonna unbox this. We're gonna unbox something. I don't know what it is yet. We're gonna unbox a full-size motorcycle on screen. It's gonna be a blast, and you guys get to be through all of it. We take hours and hours and hours and squeeze it down to a couple minutes. You guys get to kind of hang out with us and unbox it, ask us questions while we're doing it. It's gonna be a lot of fun. Look at this headlight. What's that robot? What's that one movie with the robot? Oh, it's like a kid's movie.
With a smiley robot?
This looks like that robot. Kind of looks like a demon robot. These are like horns, you know what I mean? Yikes. Notice this giant, oversized zip tie. When I was in high school, the kids would take these big zip ties and go like zip tie people's backpacks to things. Unless you had a pocket knife, you couldn't get it off.
You guys sound really cool.
Ooh, let me give these cheap manufacturers a little tip. Let me just give you a little tip. This doesn't look bad, but it has no weight. Can't feel it.
What the heck? They're toys.
They feel like toys. What's that line in Jurassic Park? Is it heavy? Yes. Then they're expensive. Put it down. Yeah. Put lead in here. Put something in here. These should feel a little bit heavier, and then I'd be like, oh, this feels really nice. This feels really good. Oh, that's unplugged right there. There we go. Get it. This is how they're doing the triple clamp, right? That's different. Very different.
Make sure you kick them around before you open them.
Yeah, you gotta kick them around. Charger. Weak. You wanna guess what the toolkit says?
Does it say toolkit?
Toolkit! This is good, so, because any company could use this bag and make it their toolkit.
Oh, check it out.
This is happening. At first I thought it was a backrest. I was like, oh, cool, but then there's no spot for it, but nothing fits. Like, this was never put on. These things were never installed. It looks dumb anyway. I don't even want it.
Sour grapes.
Sour grapes. All right, these are the pegs. And this is pretty simple. Hopefully it works. If it doesn't work, I will walk this thing straight into Whole Foods and take it back. That paint job is awful. Ooh, look at this. It feels so junky. Oh, look. There's nothing. There's nothing down there. It smells pretty good. Hard to hate new stuff smell. Let's get these handlebars on here. Probably with something with this. So these go in here. These little valleys like that. And then I was gonna say I'm over here achieving perfection, but let's be honest, I'm here just putting together junk. But it's still junk that I'm interested in seeing how it goes. Tires are black. That's cool.
Okay, next stop's the Honda dealer. Let's see what they have. I don't think we're getting one of these for $3,700. Not even the one without the winch. It's not a price tag. Kind of liking it. All right, let's see what they have inside. Okay, so I'm really hoping maybe we can find a Ruckus or a Metropolitan or one of the new ADV 150 scooters, a Grom. That would be great. Anything like that's going to be right in our wheelhouse, right in our price range, and it's going to work perfect. Sold. A little more. Sold. Sold. All right, so that didn't work. They didn't have any Groms or Navis or Ruckuses or ADV 150s. Nothing in the Honda line in that price range. They sold everything. I got 3,700 bucks burning a hole in my pocket, and I can't seem to find a bike to get bought. This is honestly getting a little frustrating, but I got another idea. Dan, come on, let me show you my other idea. I don't know how to get out of this thing.
Tell me it's not a face. That's a face. Yeah, that's a mouth, yeah. Here's the eyes, horns. Kind of creeping you out, ain't it? You guys thinking, Sean, why are you so wasteful with your money? You spent all this money on this thing. One, this company did not give this to me for free. They would not be that. That'd be pretty dumb. Well, it's dumber than I pay for it. But two, I'm buying this, and I'm making a video about it. A lot of people are gonna see it, so that you don't buy it, and that you don't make that mistake. Also, it's leaking, still leaking fluids.
Harley guys would love it.
Brake fluid everywhere.
That's brake fluid?
Brake fluid is bad stuff,
Brake fluid doesn't go in the handle.
Brake fluid eats. I currently have this review at 1 star. 0 stars for the price because it's very expensive. -5 stars for the quality. 2 stars because it kind of looks kind of cool from the picture. Build quality. -1 star. Like stuff like this. Like that's just so poor.
Unfortunately, my other idea was in the shop, and I didn't want Sean to know about it, so I needed to be inconspicuous.
That's a little bit concerning. I just have no brakes.
You don't need those either.
Yeah, I guess I didn't. What you doing, Craig?
Oh, just moving some stuff around.
All right. I gotta give this thing credit. It's pretty easy to put together.
Oh, just like the review.
Just like that review was right. I think we're ready to fire this thing up. We're not ready to make a right-hand turn, but
Stuff never rips, it just stretches. A LaFon scooter is exactly what I'm gonna be opening. This thing has actually been sitting on the shelf for months, just lying dormant, waiting for the opportunity to reveal itself. And this is it. We're gonna win.
every once in a while, we get a sponsor. And this video has been sponsored by our boys over at Onyx. I guess there's some girls there too. And if you don't know what Onyx is an off-road map system. You know, kind of like Google Earth, kind of like Apple Maps, except for it's made for people who go off-road. You know, like Google Maps, you can plot a do are much more narrow than what Klaus can do. Although Klaus is very capable. So you guys go check out the Onyx app. Onyx gave my viewers 20% off their subscription. I would check it out. It's really cool. It's a great place to start your adventure. There's a wire like really far. Dan, you have small girlish hands, don't you? Put your tiny hands in here, Dan. Oh, jeez. No, that's not happening. I got a tool for this, Dan. No, they gave us a tool for this.
Did they give us a gravel arm? Oh.
He might be putting the babies in the adoption system. The babies, possibly.
I got it. What an awful design. This is... Dang it, I dropped it in there. These are the only keys that actually operate the bike. There's a lightning and a hat.
A lightning?
Shouldn't get this thing to do something. First of all, the engine start button is sideways. It's slightly crooked.
Brushless motor engage.
Look, it's doing stuff. Look. Ready. 48 volts. Wow. Okay, it's on. This is on, but you gotta press the on-off button. It's modes. 1, 2, 3 modes. Wow. Why is there no brakes? Can't ride it without brakes.
There it is. Exhaust, shield. Oh my gosh, look at this. There's more. I hit the flavor pack mother load.
Hear that, babe?
Oh,
I
man.
had a blonde hair, blue-eyed baby, and I put them up for adoption on the black market. We would be rich.
Yeah.
Blonde hair, blue-eyed baby.
How much?
A lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, people really like blonde hair, blue-eyed babies.
Let's do it.
I just have two kids.
Oh, like Christmas. We can do this. Box number 3. Guessing front tire.
Watching these guys buy cheap bikes on Amazon and see what's better.
There it is. Oh, those brakes don't work. Now you guys might not know this, but other than Sean, I probably put more China bikes together than anyone else on the planet. This one here was pretty easy. Huh. There's more stuff. Nah, mirrors. Okay, so we need to tighten the front wheel, tighten the mirrors, put the battery in, put gas in it, fire this up, beat Sean, go spend some money. Success!
All right, so we got the brakes working. We just have to top them off with fluid and get the air bubbles out. But look at this. Look at that caliper. Look at how much you can't. It's locked, unlocked, whatever. It's always freaking out when you're touching it. But watch that caliper. Watch it move. It shouldn't do that.
Oh, okay. It's like wiggling slightly.
It shouldn't move. I think we're ready. Other than I never found a spot for that key, except for this, the handlebar lock. Let's put the plate back in. Let's see if it actually works. Shut up! Shut up! I didn't turn it on, but it's on now. Okay. Okay, now it's off. No, now it's unlocked. Press the button. Okay, so apparently the higher the mode, the higher the throttle response is. So let's put this key in my pocket. Let's take this thing out to the streets. And, okay, hold on. I noticed something else too.
Is that like scraping?
No, it's just broken. It's just broken off. I shouldn't be able to do this, but it can't. No resistance of me pulling this thing off. And this had nothing to do with the forklift. So don't try to. Shut up. Why are you just constantly beeping? Will it burn out? Hey, I got like a little bit. It says like half a star. Yeah, yes sir.
It goes.
It said it could do off-road. It can. See how fast it goes. 50. Oh wait, it's kilometers. No one knows what kilometers means. Let's go get a helmet on. Because we're safe. Bikes and beards is all about safety and whatnot. Yo, Dan, how cool is that? Wow. I mean, for the thing, for whatever it is, it's kind of peppy, I guess. It's actually picking up speed a whole lot faster than what I thought it would. Yep, it's amazing. Interested to see what Craig gets for the same amount of money. We'll see if he can beat me on it, which he definitely can. If Craig can, he's fired. What's with the tape?
Going down.
What's with the tape?
I didn't feel like pulling this all apart to put the nuts on the inside of the turn signals.
You got that for $3,700?
Sure did.
The first thing obviously we got to do is
race.
And since these aren't real motorcycles, we don't have to wear helmets.
Tire shredder.
Yeah, you like that?
On your mark, get set, go.
I'm winning. No, I'm not winning. So after not winning the race against Craig's gas bike, we decided to go out into the wild off-road to see if I could not win a race out there too. As long as I continue not to win, Craig continues to have his job.
Ben, you record me, I'll record you. Recording Craig, recording Sean.
I'll race you anywhere, Sean. Let's go.
Electric wins! No! Gasoline wins! Did I get super huge air? Did you get more air than I did? All this racing in the wild, Typhoon Black Panther outdoors reminds me of one of my favorite Bible verses, John 1:14. The Word became flesh and made his dwelling among us. We have seen his... Then we found out something that was very surprising about this little electric motorcycle. And that's that it's not even street legal. So we found this out after, and they kind of hid it. You can only find out in the question. It's like, is it street legal? And it's like, they're kind of vague about it, but no, it's not street legal. I don't know what it is, but for $3,700 bucks, there's no way. This is, I mean, yeah, you see me laughing and giggling a lot while I'm riding it, but this is $500 worth of fun if it lasts a couple of years. If not, I mean, this is a big waste of money. Also, I recognize that bike. That was on the shelf. What did you do with the money?
I like it. Hi. Would you take 3,700?
The young subs that we are looking for are a couple. Now, the man in the relationship most likely has a history of sexual...
Hey guys, Matt here with Juice Joyrides, and today we're gonna go for the very first ride on my Solar Eclipse. It's a brand new electric dirt bike, and here's kind of what it looks like next to my 72-volt modified Saran. Got a little bit longer wheelbase. This is a 72-volt bike out of the box. Pretty massive 45 amp hour battery. Comes stock with a huge 90-tooth rear sprocket. Interesting chain on this bike. And one of the most unique things about this bike is it is a full carbon frame.
It is a beautiful day here in Sunset Beach, California.
At first, they were the lifeline that kept her alive. As long as he had other targets for his abuse, she avoided his rage. So if these children protect her from abuse, why is she putting them up for adoption? We believe the answer to all children.
A new electric bike that I picked up from Fly e-bikes battery, as it will give you much good. It came with a charger. Since I got the upgraded battery, it came with a charger that's right in that corner, or anything like that. This is what we consider fully automatic. I just added a couple of emblems. Look here at the caliper. You can see the I did get the certificate of origin with this bike. Now that's what makes this bike different from anything that we have seen out there so far in YouTube, is that this one came with an actual certificate of origin, and I have it sitting right here. This is how much I paid to this company, Fly e-bikes. You can see they're located in Miami. That's their address right there. And so this is the total purchase. The bike was $2,000. I did get a little discount for picking it up in person, but normally they go for about $3,300. And then over here we have the certificate of origin, guys. So very, very cool, very interesting. These definitely look like a Kawasaki bike. And so yes, that's the main difference right here. We have the VIN number. That's where the VIN number is located. I added the phone mount, turn signals. I'll give you here a little sample. You can see right there the turn signals that just came on. You have the right, and to cancel them, it's just like a motorcycle. You press in and it cancels it. You guys can see that the battery is currently charged. It's not fully charged. I already put like 10 miles in it. Then on the right side here, you have the kill switch. You have the lights. So we get here the regular lights. You guys can appreciate. On the back as well. Okay. And that's pretty much it. You also get the horn. The horn, it's here with the Starter will be on a regular bike, and you also get another button here for the horn as well. So we get 2 buttons instead of 1. And it doesn't have a gas cap. So fully electric, guys. Now what I will do to test it out is do a little speed test, just a short one. That will bring more videos. The only thing is that with this bike, I'm not sure if the speed controller is overheating. I had only one cutoff where it just turned off and I had to pull over, let it cool down. I started it up again and it went back on the road, and it hasn't done it ever since. But it could be 2 things, either the speed controller is getting hot or the motor is getting hot. I would just have to figure that one out. Keep in mind that it's brand new, and things when they're brand new, they have more friction into them and it tends to get hot. And that's a universal rule, like I call it, for anything that is brand new. You have to break them in. So let's go ahead and turn off the lights. I'm going to mount the GoPro on my head. Use my phone here as a GPS speedometer. And yes, my phone claims that I did 52 miles an hour on it already. And again, I wasn't pushing it, and I'm 225 pounds. So with this being said, let's go for a little short ride, and I'll be right back. All right, guys, so this is not a full review yet. This is just a quick test ride here with my speedometer so that we can see how fast it really goes. I mean, right now we have it here on sports mode. Well, at least, you know, just to keep up with traffic, I'm not going to do yet a max speed test. That will come on a separate video. But damn, this thing is amazing. I just had a neighbor from where I live, which is a townhouse community. He stopped me and he said, "What is that? You know, I heard you move, or I saw you move, but I didn't hear anything." Okay, right now it is currently reading about 76 volts approximately. So hopefully I won't get another cutoff. There we go. Plenty of speed. I like this. So we did about 28. Let's get here into harbors. By the way, if you have your brakes pressed, it won't go. Just keep that in mind. There we go. Here we are. Hopefully it'll hold up. Okay, not sure yet. You can see how it does 50, like nothing happened, guys.
finalize the journey? Yes. I've led dozens of tactical assaults. You never made me write up one of these for free. That's because I always do it for you after each case. You know what? I'm sorry Strauss is coming down on you. This is not about Strauss. Really? I disagree. Look, I understand that you're under the gun, but I gotta say it. I'm really not all that surprised. I watched you walk away from a bunch of cops gunning down unsubs in D.C. You walked in unprotected to a hostage situation in Louisville. Of course the Bureau's worried about you. Man, I'm worried about you. But just because you're the one who's under the magnifying glass, that doesn't mean I can't do my job.
Morgan, there's a big part of your job that I do for you. Because I don't need you worried about paperwork and politics. I need you in the field and focused and catching the next unsub. I can't do that anymore. I don't have to justify my orders to you, and you do have to follow them.
I've always followed your orders when they make sense.
Well, if you have a problem with this one, tell me now.
You're the boss.
Garcia needs to talk to us ASAP.
Okay, so the gold star of the day goes to Agent David Rossi and his short list of 1 disease. These prenatal drugs also treat breast cancer.
Progesterone, tamoxifen, slow to spread, metoclopramide, and domperidone are for anti-nausea, if I remember correctly.
If this woman has breast cancer, would she be able to get pregnant?
She could. She'd have to be dedicated.
How dedicated?
Well, she'd have to go off chemotherapy. She'd be in a lot of pain.
But she'll try anyway. Her whole life is jungle. That's her goal. The first runaway, Monica Winmar, when was she abducted?
5 years ago.
How many breast cancer patients in Arizona got pregnant 5 to 6 years ago?
Let me see. Not a lot. 7.
How many of those patients are married to a man with a history of sexual violence?
Just 1. Robert and Linda Raymond.
Oh, jeez. But she lost the baby at 9 days. She had to go through labor anyway.
What's going on, guys? So I am going to be making a video talking about my summoning necromancer build because I get a lot of questions on the build while I'm live streaming, and there isn't that many skeletal summoning necromancer builds out there. There's a lot on Bone Spear, there's a lot on Bone Spirit, sacrificing minions for damage, the Sever summoning build, and there's many variations, but this is the one that I currently use because this is the one that I fell into while leveling up my character, creating my own way, and making decisions that benefited the character based off the gear that I have and the aspects that I use. I also do play Witch in Path of Exile as a summoner, and I also played Diablo 2 back in the day as a necromancer, so it's just a little nostalgic for me to try to get the army of the dead into the end game and make it somewhat useful instead of sacrificing them all the time. Before we dive deep into the skill tree, the paragons, and the aspects, and how you actually build this character, I'm going to show you guys exactly how it works and why it works. So this is a summoning necromancer build that is kind of disguised as a corpse explosion build. So all of your summons and a lot of your abilities are going to be creating corpses, and through those corpses you are going to be generating your essence, healing your skeletons, and doing your damage. And anytime that you have full essence, which is basically the necromancer's mana, you will be dumping your Bone Spear, which is going to be creating more vulnerable enemies, thus increasing the damage of Bone Spear. This build is certainly not a let's jump into the middle of the crap and see if we can survive it. It's definitely about positioning yourself behind and around your skeletons so they can take the initial aggression from the monsters, allowing you to cast Corpse Explosion freely or hit them with the Bone Spear. I typically try to save my essence for elites and bosses that will pop up. I want to make sure that I'm casting Bone Spear immediately on them. That's going to increase decrease the time that they're going to be alive, I guess, and also increasing the damage of my minions and Corpse Explosion. So it's kind of a balance between both. I will sometimes just drain my essence with Bone Spear and then get it all the way back up with Corpse Explosion. Sometimes I'll literally just sit there and spam Corpse Explosion even though I have full essence. But the main thing is using the Golem Slam on elites is kind of essential. It keeps them in position. A good alternative to this, and I'm going to be talking about that later, is using a Bone Golem with the Taunt. So I think both are equally good for different reasons. So it's all about paying attention to how your minions are doing. If you're in an encounter and you notice that some of them are dying or they're losing their health really quick, then you want to transition away from a super offensive strategy and start focusing on healing them. And you do that by just raising skeleton. It's going to spawn a skeletal beast. And And
you wanna watch
keeping the minions alive is just a really good
What?
way of making sure that huge pack of
we'll end up
elites are not
watching
just specifically
all of it.
targeting you.
I don't think
Because
it's gonna be that
this build
interesting,
isn't necessarily about barrier regeneration, health regeneration, and there is a bit of fortify. Your defensives are purely based off of your personal
You
positioning
better paint my
in the
nails
game
too, boo-boo.
and less about the
Oh,
skills
yeah.
that you have, which is,
True.
in my opinion, the biggest drawback of this build. Although
I want peanut butter and
it's
jelly
really
some
powerful,
fierce.
as you can see, even when I don't have the proper gear at the current moment,
Yeah, that
or
would
the
be
best gear that I possibly could be.
fire.
There's a number of uniques that would benefit this build as well. It still is
That
doing
is
just fine to clear this content
So are
at
you
a pretty
saying you like
reasonable
more peanut
speed,
butter, more jelly?
and I
Pretty much just
don't
50-50.
think it's going to be an
I do
issue
like
once I
jelly
get to
better, though,
level
so if
80
you are
and
gonna do
above,
more,
and I
do
get
jelly.
more gear that's at that
I
ancestral level. So now that you know the general strategy of the build, let's take a look at the skill tree and how it actually works. So let's go into the skill tree. A link to this is also included in the description box below if you want to go and actually take a peek at the build itself without watching this video. We're going to be opening up with Decompose and Enhanced Decompose. This just is a basic ability that's going to be giving you essence and also creating a corpse at the base of the enemy that you're decomposing. As you can see, it is currently not on my bar because I don't need basic skills that much in the late game, but you might need it in the early game. Bone Splinters and Enhanced Bone Splinters is also fine, like a single point, whatever gets you into the second tree. So whatever works for you, just don't spend too much time in the basic skill tree. Decompose or Bone Splinter. Now let's move down to the core skills. Your Bone Spear, Enhanced Bone Spear, and Supernatural Bone Spear is going to be your main focus here for your abilities. The Supernatural Bone Spear is going to be making your enemies vulnerable, which is going to be increasing the damage output of Corpse Explosion. Corpse Explosion is going to be your primary damage dealing ability with this build because it's utilizing your warrior's capability of creating corpses and utilizing those corpses for damage. So this is good for that. That's just going to make everybody else take more damage. We also have one of the more important passives, Hued Flesh. Whenever your targets take damage up to 12%, it creates a corpse. Bosses are 24%. This is going to be key, especially when you're fighting bosses in the main story and your skeletons are getting killed. You can quickly bring them back up by simply casting a couple bone spears on the enemy. So, kind of nice. We also have Blood Mist moving down the tree. Blood Mist is really key for hardcore necromancers. If you make a hardcore necromancer and you don't have Blood Mist, you're kind of making a mistake in my opinion, because this skill has saved me easily a dozen times and will likely continue to save me. It makes you immune for 3 seconds, giving you the ability to either use your potions or use Scroll of Escape to get out of that dodgy situation. Now let's move on to Corpse Explosion. Again, the main damage ability of this build. Corpse Explosion, Enhanced Corpse Explosion, increasing the radius, and Plagued Corpse Explosion. This deals more damage to enemies that are slowed, stunned, or vulnerable. The mages, our cold mages, are going to be slowing and stunning. Our Iron Golem is going to be stunning. And our Bone Spear is going to be making enemies vulnerable. So we're going to be getting this additional damage increase most of the time. Skeletal Warrior Mastery is a no-brainer for the damage and life. This is something that you want to pick away at in the later levels. It's not that important in the early game. However, it's more about the life than the damage, because it's more about getting your Reapers here to create the corpses and less about their damage themselves. Now we have the most important passive in the tree, which is Grim Harvest. This was nerfed, unfortunately, so it's not as good as it used to be, but it's still important. Consuming a corpse generates 6 essence. Consuming a corpse means whenever you either summon a new skeleton or heal them with your Skeletal Priest, or, of course, blowing them up with Corpse Explosion. So it turns your Corpse Explosion into your primary essence regeneration, which is why I don't have Decompose on my bar right now, because I don't need it at this level. Now we have Fueled by Death. Every time you consume a corpse, it increases your damage. In this case, for me, it's up to 12% for 6 seconds after.
This is going to be up constantly because we're going to be consuming all the corpses. Continuing moving down to the curse tree. We don't have any curses right now, but if you wanted to experiment with curses, Iron Maiden, an enhanced Iron Maiden, is kind of interesting because you can turn it into a corpse generation, but in this case, we're just looking for the passives. Skeletal Mage Mastery increases the life and damage of your skeletal mages. Death's Reach, you deal 12% increased damage at a distance, which you will be standing behind your minions casting Corpse Explosion. And then you have Death's Embrace. This is a defensive, because I'm a hardcore character, I want to be taking less damage when enemies are closer to me, and I want the enemies to die faster if they are right on top of me. So maybe not as essential if you're not a hardcore, but it's still useful passive. Both Death's Reach and Death's Embrace don't really need to be like, you don't have to work on any of these like passives right away if you don't want to. Just put a couple of points in that allows you to progress the trees, and then come back later when you're higher level and start maxing out some of these passives. The most important ones to max in the early game is Hewed Flesh and Grim Harvest. The rest are slow pickaways. Now we're going to be moving down to the next tree. The only skill that I actually use in this tree is Necrotic Carapace. This is going to give you Fortify whenever a new corpse is formed by yourself or your minions. Unfortunately, this is bugged right now and not being triggered as often as it should, but I'm sure it will be resolved soon. But either way, this is still going to be used often, and you'll notice that your Fortify is going to be maxed whenever you're rolling around. This just gives you increased damage reduction whenever the Fortify bar is higher than your health. So when the health drops, Fortify is high, you gain damage reduction, which is key for your defense. Corpse Tendrils, this comes purely from the gear that I'm wearing, and because I have it, it's on my bar. If I didn't have it, it wouldn't be on my bar. It's a useful skill. I would utilize Corpse Tendrils instead of Blood Mist if you were a non-hardcore character. You don't need Blood Mist if you're a softcore character. You really only need it if you're hardcore. So slap it on Corpse Tendrils because it just will stun all the enemies, and you'll be able to cast Corpse Explosion under them. And you don't need to spec into it very much because it's less about the damage it does and more about the stun. Now moving down the tree, we have Golem Mastery, increases the damage and life of your Golem by 75%. This is, again, you want to slowly pick away at this. It doesn't need to be maxed right away, but whenever you notice your Golem is dying more, maybe put a point into this until it's maxed. Now we have the Summoning Passives. So we have Inspiring Leader. Whenever you've been healthy for at least 4 seconds, your minions gain 12% attack speed. This is going to be pretty much all the time because you shouldn't be below 80% just chilling behind your enemy line unless you're taking damage. And if you are, you probably should be using your healing potions. So this is going to cause your skeletal mages to create more corpses. Now we have Bonded in Essence. This is going to increase your Skeletal Priestess heal, so whenever you see your guys are taking damage, they will be able to heal. Or if you're in a really dodgy situation, you can just focus on healing your minions and keeping them alive instead of casting Corpse Explosion, so this is very helpful for that. Next is Death's Defense. Now your minions cannot lose more than 30% of their maximum life from a single damage instance. This is essential in the late game for fighting bosses and world bosses. Without this, your minions are just going to get wiped out in a single hit, and there's really nothing that you can really do. So maybe not that essential in the early game, but something that you're going to have to consider in the late game. And finally, Hellbent Commander. Your minions deal 30% increased damage while you are close to them. For this specific build, this is probably the least important. And if I was to remove these skills, I would actually put them maybe even into Corpse Tendrils because I have the gear right now, or a different passive of some sort. Maybe Ceration that will help with my Bone Spear damage, because you're going to be standing behind your your summons, not with your summons. This is great for a Sever Necromancer build, not necessarily for a Corpse Explosion Bone Spear build. So these 3 points, you can throw them anywhere, but for right now, they're in Hellbent Commander. Now let's move down to the key passives. You have 2 choices here. You have Ossified Essence. Your bone skills deal increased damage for each point of essence you have above 50, which is really, really nice. And then you also have Kalen's Edict, which is going to be increasing your minions' attack speed by 30% in this case, because you're going to have more than at least 7 minions available, because you're a summoning necromancer. So it says 15, but it's going to be 30% because we get that extra bonus. The faster the attack speed, the more corpses are going to be generated, the more damage you're going to be doing. So I actually bounce between both of these key passives depending on what I'm doing, because you still have Bone Spear as one of your damage abilities. It's nice to use it. There's also aspects that you can get that increase the benefit of Ossified